right. So thank you, everyone. We are back. It is, I cannot believe I wrote August. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Did I tell you guys that I have aphasia? And sometimes letters that are similar, words, my mind does these things. But anyway, welcome to our peer-to-peer support group for April, not August, April 13th, 2026. We're just a few minutes behind the schedule, but it's okay because we're gonna have a good time this evening. Let's go to the next one. So again, as we always begin, who we are the Mid-Atlantic Aphasia Conference, and we connect people with aphasia, including our caregivers and care partners. Um, we meet two times every month on Zoom, actually more than two, but two times regularly on second Mondays, every second Monday of every month, we have support group with special guests or special activities. Some days we have guests and activities. Woohoo! On the fourth Mondays at 7 p.m., we have our conversation group, and we also will have special guests four times a year, quarterly. We also have international guests. We go abroad. I don't know how many of you were there for our trip to France. I had to miss that one. My passport was denied, but it was a good trip from what I understood.
Oh no, you do have your port port pass is still good because you were
Oh,
already out.
excellent. Thank you. Thank
You
you.
did.
So, our guidelines, we are respectful and sensitive to one another. We give time for others to speak. We aim to use aphasia-friendly communication. We ask everyone, please mute your mic until it is your turn to speak, and you can demonstrate that by the little cartoon hand, or you can just wave your hand in the camera. And if we see you, we'll definitely let you know that that's what you want to do. During our sessions, we do not give medical advice and we do not promote political or religious discussions. It is my pleasure, folks. My pleasure. I don't know why it's looking weird like that, but let me see if I can. I love this computer. I really love it. Slideshow.
Denise, for everyone's concern, I should be on that list. That I'm William Daly and I'm adorable.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Alison Boyle is an experienced speech language pathologist with expertise in cognitive communication, rehabilitation, and brain health. At Isaac Health, she provides evidence-based interventions that support memory, attention, executive function, and language in adults and older adults, helping individuals apply skills in real world contexts. Allison's practice emphasizes functional, person-centered therapy, integrating cognitive communication strategies with meaningful everyday tasks to enhance participation, independence, and quality of life. She is a passionate advocate for interdisciplinary care, lifelong learning, and empowering individuals with communication challenges through engaging therapeutic sessions and activities. I turn to you, ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Alison Boyle.
Thank you, Denise. Yeah, that was a great introduction. Thank you so much for those kind words and again for inviting me tonight. And thank you to all of you for having me. I am going to start sharing my screen now. Is that okay, Denise? Are you okay? Perfect. Thank you. And there we go. Is everybody able to see that okay? Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for the feedback. So as Denise said, I am Alison Boyle. I'm a cognitive communication rehabilitation therapist. I'm a licensed speech language pathologist, but really focus on those cognitive communication skills and proactive brain health and brain care. I am from Philadelphia. I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia. We're right over the bridge now in New Jersey, right in South Jersey. I attended Westchester University for my undergraduate degree. I worked in public relations for a few years at American University in Washington, D.C., before deciding to go back to school for speech language pathology after a couple of different volunteer opportunities where I realized I liked where I was volunteering more than my full-time job. So went with that and went back to school for speech language pathology. I am also a mother of two young boys. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and we just added a puppy to the mix, as if life wasn't crazy enough, right? So his name's Blizzard. Came with all of the snowstorms this year. We got him, and I'm just seeing why it's the same thing. I'm not able to, for some reason, go in the presentation mode. So let me stop sharing for a moment and see what's going on there. Was stuck on that screen for some reason. So I'm just going to start it over here. Sorry about that. Is that okay for everybody? Okay. So cognitive communication therapy is a therapeutic approach that's designed to improve cognitive functioning and enhance the quality of life for individuals with cognitive impairment. So those resulting from traumatic brain injury, stroke, neurodegenerative diseases. We've really focused this therapy on retraining and strengthening cognitive skills, compensatory strategies, and environmental modifications to support optimal functioning. Really these overall skills that affect your daily life, conversations, independence, maybe those social, functional tasks. And I really like to think of it as exercise for the brain. If anybody does feel comfortable, if you are familiar with speech language pathology services, want to share at all about your experiences, what some of the primary focus of those sessions were, does anybody feel comfortable sharing their experiences? And if not, that's okay too. I just like to open it up and ask.
Mrs. Gordon, I'd be glad to.
Sure, thank you.
First time I had it was just a few days after my stroke, after leaving the hospital. And I was, excuse me, very eager and anxious to learn how to better communicate. And my aphasia is anomic aphasia. And I had a very good experience with the therapist. Happened to be a young man that was very good and very he was very good at what he did, and he helped me immensely. And I wanted to continue. Unfortunately, my insurance uh, pulled that out from under me, if you will. And so later, much later, a few years later, then I realized that I could get more. I'll just say SLT, and that has helped several times since then. And I try to go twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, fortunately, after 12 and a half years, it's a very good review for me and helps me to remember and realize that I still struggle a bit,
Mm-hmm.
as especially Mark Harder knows. And but with the help of that, it's always been very helpful.
Thank you, Gordon, and thank you so much for sharing your experience and how you said too, like, unfortunately, insurance cut it off. And then I'm so glad that you said you did look into it again later and realize there are more sessions, or sometimes if there's any type of changes or medical changes, insurance can always come back in. And then I also think too, and we'll talk about it a little later on too, just that importance of really advocating. And I know it's sometimes hard to do for yourself or have others to help with it, is huge, because a lot of times, depending on what goals might be, especially right after the stroke, may be way different than what the goals are now going to be 3, 4, 5 years later. So working with people, like you said, on aphasia, maybe that expressive language and word finding, receptive language, so understanding what's being said, to now really helping people with like that executive function, so organization, planning. A lot of my treatment sessions recently have been honestly with an accountant who used to be able to do taxes no problem. And last year realized how difficult it was. So how, as a speech language pathologist and a cognitive therapist, we broke it down, organizing, sequencing each step. So really trying to make it, as you grow and change, how those goals can grow and change, and really then hopefully pick back up and then be covered again by insurance when the assessments and documentation can show that. But thank you so much for sharing that example and your experiences. And I'm so glad you had a great experience and still do when you get to go back. Next thing here. So, like I said, many of you or all of you may be familiar with the role of the speech language pathologist. I just wanted to touch on it in general and then move specifically into that cognitive communication skills. So, in cognition specifically, I really work on skills that were impacted obviously by conditions such as stroke, dementia, TBI, anything really impacting the brain and its brain health. We focus on educating clients and caregivers, family, friends, whoever you feel comfortable and want involved in those sessions, and focus, and like I said, sometimes on those more different skills, memory, attention, problem solving strategies to get you through the different stages of life and where you might be when you are picking up services. I really try to collaborate with the interdisciplinary team, whether it be neurologists, which is a primary role in my position now with Isaac Health. They are, our patients will usually see the neurologist first, then the nurse practitioner, and then have the referral to myself, talk therapy, sometimes PT, whatever is really needed depending on those assessments and evaluations. For communication, kind of like what Gordon was talking about, the aphasia, the expressive language, receptive language skills. As time goes on, you might notice changes in that motor speech and that overall intelligibility, and then those pragmatic abilities, because a lot of times if those expressive and receptive, so those things you want to say or trouble understanding what's being said, that can often then impact those social skills and social areas. We provide therapy to support the verbal and nonverbal communication, incorporate AAC when it's appropriate. And really, I like to try to stress too, because some people have various opinions, and evidence really does show AAC. It does not affect your ability to produce speech or language later. It can usually just help get it out of you a little bit better. Having those visual cues, it can work in different ways for each person. And so in the communication aspect, support clients with that word finding and those discourse challenges. And again, it might be verbal expression, it could be written expression, written receptive skills, really variety there in terms of speech and language. And then swallowing, we also work on. So conducting clinical and instrumental assessments of swallow function, treating dysphagia as needed, implementing compensatory and rehabilitative swallow strategies, and again, that patient and family education. And that's going to bring me here now to the education and advocacy roles, educating patients, families, and caregivers on communication and swallowing disorders, providing training on strategy use of external aids, and implementing environmental modifications as appropriate. And I'll go into more detail about each of those in terms of those cognitive communication skills. Support other healthcare professionals for the plan of care. And also, I feel like educating the future of the field, right? I'm sure we all know that if that education and mentorship, supervising, if that isn't there, the field isn't going to, you want to make sure the field's in good hands in the future as well. So I really truly believe in that importance of education across the generations. I spoke about this a little bit earlier already, but the role of advocacy. So, really promoting access to services for individuals with communication and swallowing needs, updating the plan of care, which I think is major. As the person progresses, so should the goals. So you may have short-term goals that might say, okay, automatic speech to start or word finding to start, word level. Once they're met, then instead of saying, okay, you met these goals, let's start talking about discharge, really making sure you know, advocating for yourself, advocating for friends, family. Well, okay, I would like to start talking more than just word level phrases. Can we expand this to sentence level? Can we make it conversation, discourse? If you're going to have volunteers, be part of groups like this. How can you make it as functional as possible to get me to the highest level I can right now and still allow room for continued growth? I really believe in advocating for policy changes that benefit individuals, participating in community outreach and awareness events. So thank you again for letting me come today and speak with all of you and for all you do to offer these support groups for people and collaborating with the interdisciplinary team to ensure client-centered care. For myself as a speech language pathologist, I really truly believe that therapy should be personalized. So I work together with my clients, with my patients, with their family to really find out what your goals would be, daily routines, strengths and challenges that you're facing. Some examples might be remembering appointments, staying organized, improving those conversations, managing daily tasks. And then, like I said, that written expression. And again, depending on where you are, maybe post-stroke or in your recovery process, where you are in life, what's changing, are you making a move? Really trying to help with all of those aspects and making it as personal as possible. Again, you may be familiar with the therapy already, but it can be one-to-one sessions, also group sessions, sometimes a combination of both. The introduction to the compensatory strategies, the aids and environmental modifications, functional activities. So like I said, helping somebody with taxes, maybe helping somebody else with organizing an event, maybe just conversation with someone, having somebody feel comfortable to come to a group like this or out in the community for those social skills, and exercises that are targeting the strategies discussed with the goal of carryover across all settings. So what I'm saying here, like strategies, external aids, I don't know if some of you already use some of these things, but for memory specifically, so for those cognitive communication skills, research shows they're called the RAP memory strategies, evidence-based strategies, and the RAP is WRAP, where RAP stands for write the information down. So whether it be on a calendar, a planner, an organized notebook, so that way you know where to look and where to find it. then that repetition, because the more you say something and do it, the easier it sticks, right? So you might use that repetition with key information from conversation, trying to naturally repeat it back. Names. So, oh, hi, everybody, I'm Allison. You might say, oh, Allison, it's so nice to meet you. Fingers crossed, that's what you would say, right, Allison? It's nice to meet you. I'm hoping you're thinking that, but really trying to naturally repeat the names, the key information, so it sticks in the mind a little bit and helps trigger that memory. Association is where you're making those connections between words, and then picture it, which is visualization. So creating that mental image. So multimodal approach for memory, and that's some of the key memory strategies. And then these are just different ways that you can be implementing them throughout those everyday tasks in everyday life. So using calendars, planners, but finding the system that works for you. Pill boxes for alarms with medication, sticky notes or reminder cards and visible locations, and then smartphone reminders, voice memos. And I'm sorry, Mark, go ahead. Did you have a
Yes.
question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can can you put that on the slide for wrap?
Yeah, sure. And I also can send you after this. I have like a handout with the
Okay.
strategies and the wrap, and I'll send you both to share if that's okay.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep,
Because I couldn't process the
sure.
words. Yeah.
No
Thank you.
problem. So those are some of the external memory aids, again, so things that you'll be implementing to help with some of these skills, whether like appointments, the calendar and planner, pill boxes, so noticing trouble with medication or remembering a system put in place. Go ahead, Denise.
It just dawned me because I'm looking at this with the memory strategies, like I use all of these things,
Mhm.
Good.
but I'm not at 100% of always remembering things.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So when is it that memory not being able to use I'm not going to say not being able to use the strategies, but you know how sometimes the doctors will say, "Oh, well, this happens because you're at a certain age now." So it's okay. They say it's okay you forgot because you're older now.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, but I got calendars, I got it on the phone, I got a paper
Mhm.
calendar, I got the thing on my watch, I got the medicine pill box here, I got stickers on the mirror to say, "Did you take your medicine?" You know,
Hmm.
but I may still forget.
Sure.
So how do you know when something's wrong here? Like a strategy isn't going to work for you, but I don't even know what would if these strategies don't.
Sure. I know, and that's a great question. And like you said, obviously sometimes we all might forget something, but when it's happening more often than not, really impacting those everyday activities, your daily life, you're noticing, okay, it wasn't like missing a pill once in a blue moon and it's almost like every day, or a new medication is added. So that's where you want to start using the strategies, and it doesn't have to be all of them, and it depends what the task is, and that's where we really work together to see, okay, what might work best for you, what's working. So you might have like the pill container already, but even though you set it up every Sunday night, Tuesday morning comes around, you took a Monday, Tuesday morning, forget. So that's where we might say, okay, putting it out in a visible location or chunking it with something else, which I'll get into later. But if you're already having like your morning coffee at this time and that's routine for you, then adding something else that's a newer um, something new to you and for you to remember, where it's not already automatic and consistent. So that new medication, for example, okay, all of a sudden you have to start taking it in the morning. So that's where you might say, okay, I'm going to put it right next to the coffee station because that's the first thing I already do routinely. So by adding it right there, giving me those visual clues, I'll just be able to connect it and chunk it together. So this, and like I said, not all strategies might work perfectly for you, but working together to figure out which ones are and which ones you're noticing that success with.
And Gordon has something to talk about that.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm so glad that we're talking about this, Allison and Denise. And I still struggle with remembering um, some of the things that I have put down as well.
Mm-hmm.
And usually my dear sweet wife is good about reminding me. Uh, Occasionally I forget something. Oh, did you write it down? And I say yes, or I say no. Sometimes it's no. Uh, but one thing that it helps me more than it used to over my years is the physical um, aspect
Mm-hmm.
of dealing with aphasia. So I find that the more hydrated I am, and most, if not everybody, knows this, but I'm just remembering wanting to share that that's a big part for me, and also regular exercising. Uh, I don't go to the gym every day. I go usually 3 times a week, but in the interim, I'll walk, uh, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, and for me, eating, and it might be that you're going to cover all these items, Allison. So thank you for your patience. But I find that, and in doing my own research, there's everything is so interacted, and everything is important. And when I don't get enough sleep, or a um, sound sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and it catches up with me the following afternoon.
Yep.
So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. And I appreciate it because I do like the conversational discussion and hearing that because you're absolutely right. It can depend on the person, the timing. Like you said, when you're really tired some days, it makes things a lot harder, whether it be even going for a walk or remembering to take your medication when every other day you're remembering. So that fatigue really can play a role. And even how Denise said, you can tell it's Monday night, I'm exhausted. And it does, it makes a difference. So even like during some of the therapy sessions and building that plan of care, that you don't always think about it, but like you said, you're doing your research, by sharing that with your provider, then you might try to figure out, okay, what's usually the most productive part of your day? Is it when you just wake up? So if so, that's when you want to plan out some of those most important tasks that need to get done and prioritizing that way. We might work together on having like a to-do list. And same thing, besides just the to-do list, but what's high priority, what can wait, and then how can you schedule it in? And similar to how you said, if you might all of a sudden, oh, I had a busy weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, just pure exhaustion kicks in. So sometimes, even by keeping like a daily planner and writing out what you did over the weekend and then looking, that also can really make a difference because you can say, wow, I was packed over the weekend, and then I really couldn't do much on Monday or Tuesday. So then you might start scheduling a little less or scheduling in break times, thing that you wouldn't normally think about that will really play a huge role in decreasing that cognitive fatigue, that cognitive load, and then overall enhancing like that brain power. So that was all key information, Gordon. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else want to share anything so far before I continue? All right. And at any time, if you do, though, please, yeah, don't hesitate to stop me at all. So those were some of the more external memory strategies. Now, these internal ones are the ones that I touched quickly on with the RAP memory strategies. So the writing it down, that ends up being an external aid, but then that repetition, association, and picturing it. Chunking also really helps. So grouping information into smaller units. A lot of you might already do it and not always realize it if you think about phone numbers even. Now you really don't have to remember phone numbers as much because everything's programmed in. But that's how I always explain it. Like when you had a number and it was like, okay, 856-383, like breaking down those 7, 10 digits into smaller groups. Really helps with the memory and the cognitive load. Even with the word finding, a lot of times, if you have like a general category, breaking it into the subcategories, the smaller groups, sequential organization, so working your way A through Z, chronological, just breaking it down into smaller information, smaller units really makes a big difference. That visualization, that P of the WRAP strategies, picture it or visualize, creating that mental image, repetition and rehearsal, really practicing names and tasks. The more you do it, the more you say it, the easier it sticks. And the same goes even with Denise's question about strategies. And what if all of a sudden the strategies you're thinking, well, this isn't really helping? So the key is really getting to be consistent and routine. Figuring out, like I said, doesn't have to be all of the strategies, or it doesn't have to be a calendar in your phone, a calendar on paper. It might just be one thing. You might just use one calendar on paper and realize when you do that consistently, you're noticing the difference. So that's what's key here, consistency. So it almost becomes second nature and automatic when using some of these things. And then that association is linking that new information to known facts. So again, it could be connecting names with faces. Sometimes with my name, Allison, it's not exactly the same, but people might think Alice in Wonderland or Alice. There's the song by Elvis Costello, Allison, which I can't even hear anymore because the dentist used to sing it anytime I came in. And now I just think of the dentist when I hear it. But anything that will give you some meaning to the words that will help trigger your memory is a way to use that association strategy. For orientation strategies, those environmental cues. So all of a sudden, let's say you have a move. Getting acclimated to a new environment is hard enough, letting alone remembering where you put the forks, the spoons, the dishes. So starting with those visual cues and visual labels really can make a difference. And then soon enough, you might not need to use them anymore, but having it initially to help start to store that information makes all the difference. Using those orientation boards with the date, the time, location, and then again, the calendars, planners, and schedules. Routines. So for all of these strategies, like I've been saying, the same goes for orientation, sticking to consistent daily routines. Structured activities provide predictability. So that's where we were talking about like knowing where if fatigue is going to kick in, how might it impact you? So really trying to plan out that day with meaning when possible. I know it's not always possible, but it really is key to having a successful day. Routine really reinforces that memory and reduces confusion. These are just some general cognitive support strategies, breaking into manageable steps, spaced retrieval, so recall over increasing intervals. So that might be if we started out a session today and I said, oh, my name is Allison, I have the 2 boys and a dog. And if we're working on memory of like that conversation, right? Because that's a lot of times where we have trouble, that short-term memory, key information from conversation. So then in a couple minutes later, I might say, oh, do you remember what my dog's name was? And it's using that repetition and then that spaced retrieval. So after time, still being able to recall those key details. And with those WRAP strategies, like I said, it was writing, repeating, repetition, association, picturing it. It's a multimodal approach. So there's visual involved, verbal, and then sometimes tactile too, depending on what we're working on and what you might be implementing for the memory. Expressive language strategies, using some of the sentence starters or cues to initiate conversation, provide choices instead of open-ended questions, and really being, same thing, aware of where you are and what you're working on. So it might start at the word level, right? Especially right away from post-stroke, say it was severe expressive language disorder. I might hold up a water bottle. I know my screen's going to do that same thing, but holding up a water bottle, what's this? What do you use it for? It might start from naming like that to now you might be looking at pictures to try to come up with a whole conversation or discourse, right? Still using those visual images, but now the goals might have changed in complexity. But those same unique strategies are still what you're using, but just in different ways. And then for those receptive language strategies, simplifying language and speaking slowly and clearly. So this is where whoever your communication partner is, these are strategies that they would be maybe implementing using short, direct instructions, repeating as needed, pairing that verbal language with visual supports or gestures, and then checking for that understanding by asking the person to repeat back. So I don't know if you noticed, even as I've gone across like the memory and then just touching on the expressive and receptive language, a lot of them are similar strategies, if you've noticed, right? That repetition, checking for understanding, having the person repeat it back, pairing it with visual supports or gestures, because the cognitive communication skills, really, it's tough to have one without the other. They work together in a lot of ways. Sometimes you have to start, obviously, maybe with that receptive language first, making sure you're understanding what's being said before you can fully move on to something else. But you're still getting used to using these different strategies and different ways to implement them in ways that's going to work for you and that everyday routine. So why does this matter? Like I said, with those cognitive communication skills, it changes. We all change depending on our stage of life, what's going on. And from 6 months to now, 6 months ago, 3 years from now, you're different, sometimes not a different person, but a lot of different things going on in life where these skills may be changing. Maybe there's decline. Maybe these, oh, this is getting a lot easier for me. But now I've noticed my problem solving isn't the same. Or I've noticed it's taking me a little bit longer to come up with the things I want to say. So that's where you can always check back for the therapy and the speech language pathology services and figure out, okay, how can I address this topic now? It's going to continue to improve that independence, build the confidence, and enhance that quality of life. Success looks like remembering that important information, what's important to you, participating in functional and social activities and having that confidence to do so, managing those daily tasks, and just feeling more and more like yourself. And like everything, and with everything, if you don't use it, you'll lose it, right? And the same thing goes with that brain health. Sometimes you get discharged from therapy services, a couple months go by, a year go by, all of a sudden you're not using some of these strategies or aids or modifications that you once were. Sometimes you forget what they were. You may not be doing like the puzzles, the brain games, the activities that you once enjoyed. So that's where it's really important because if you don't use it, you lose it. So you want to really make sure, just like that physical exercise, you're doing these exercises for the brain and staying on top of it the best you can. I like to say it's really, really important, especially for that brain health, and the research shows to build that cognitive reserve. So, the cognitive reserve is the brain's ability to improvise and find alternate ways of getting a job done, right? So, like I said, even you might not have always had to write notes down, but now you write them down and you're still able to get that same job done. So, just incorporating some of these strategies to make it doable. It's reflecting how your brain is pulling in the skills and capacities to solve problems and cope with any challenges or barriers. It's truly developed by a lifetime of education and curiosity. So, with that being said, I challenge you all to try to learn something new, whether it be a new game, maybe a language. Like you said, you had France, the international ones at times, right? Even starting that way. Um, Challenging the brain is key. So I know you have these social groups, which is great. Some people might be members of card groups. You might do crossword puzzles every day. But the more routine they become, I'm not saying stop doing them, but it's important then maybe challenge a different level, increase that complexity. It's key to always keep yourself on your toes. You might not enjoy them, it might be challenging, but that's the purpose. You really want to challenge the brain too. And then that key part is still those social interactions. So, meeting up how you do, the conversations with families, friends, getting out and about. Research shows those are three of the main things that really help with building that cognitive reserve. And that's a wrap on all of some of the cognitive communication skills. Happy to answer any questions, talk about anything, and thank you all for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison. This is great. I know we've got, well, I could probably have 20 questions, but I know Mike has one, so I'll let Mike go ahead.
Sure.
So just to go back, you said something about AAC,
Mm-hmm.
and some people against it or don't agree. Can you repeat that?
Sure. So just at first, initially, some people, when I first started working with maybe patients right after stroke who had severe expressive language, family or friends often would say, "Oh, I don't know, because I don't want them to stop trying to talk or stop trying to come up with their words. I don't think AAC is good. We don't want them to use a device." But the thing is research really shows that a lot of times, whether it even just be like a picture board or then some of the more graphic devices, it actually helps get a lot of the language out because you're having those visual supports. You're having those cues in place, which then supports your expressive language coming out with the support of the device, and then automatically as you use it more.
I
So more like that, the patients aren't always, or clients, people, I'm sorry, persons aren't always wanting to give it a try until they really understand it better. And that's our job, like advocating for these resources, but knowing your concerns, what concerns might be, and how we can work through it together to reach those goals.
that's that's what I was asking. Only because I use an AAC device.
Yeah.
Okay, um, and I it's loud situations,
Mhm.
busy, stressful. I think it is a godsend when I got it
Yeah.
because, and I've gotten better with it. So I misunderstood what you were saying before, and I'm glad I asked because it makes sense what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
No, thank you. I'm glad you asked too, and thank you for sharing because I completely agree that. And when you, if you don't mind me asking, when they first gave you the idea of it, were you on board, or how did you feel at first about it?
I, I am embarrassed, but I was hesitant
Mm-hmm.
at first. Um, I thought these were only for people who could not talk.
Mm-hmm.
It was either you talked a little or you didn't talk at all,
Mm-hmm.
but if you could talk a little, you didn't need one.
Yeah. No.
And my speech language, I can't say the word, so I she pushed the idea
Mm-hmm.
and made me agree to at least try it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank every day that she did that.
Oh, that's awesome, Mike. And thank you for sharing and being open and honest and nothing to be embarrassed about. That's exactly what I was saying. So I'm glad you did ask because that is our job as the SLP to really let you know. I know it's scary, right? It's completely different. And like you said, if you don't
Yes.
have the resources and the research there, you wouldn't know. And often, more often than not, that is a person's initial reaction. No, no, no. I don't want to give up on being able to speak. I don't want to use a device. But like you said, it's really depending on the situation, makes it not easier, but you more comfortable using that, getting your words out, point across. But then, like you said, your speech and that verbal expression itself has really improved, which
It's
is amazing to hear.
every day. Like I said, large, loud,
Hmm.
stressful, like being at hospital or something.
Yeah.
It I call it my buddy. He
Oh,
goes with me everywhere.
yeah.
If wherever I go, he goes.
Hmm.
And um, I just I try to advocate at the you talked about
Hmm.
advocacy, and I try to spread that word to as many as I can.
Yeah. I love that.
So
No, that's great. And thank you for sharing. And I'm so glad it is exactly doing what you need it to do, right? And making
yeah,
you feel comfortable and getting that communication and giving that. So thank you for sharing. I am glad you did check too, because yes, we're on the same page about it for sure. And you are a great advocate
cool.
for use. Thank
Okay.
you.
I,
We
I
have,
thought that I'm
oh,
sorry
sorry.
if that's all right. I'm sorry. if they had at least had their phone and used the phone, if they had a, a device that would help. But I was in the hospital and my uh, cousin was there, and he left, and everybody said, "Well, somebody was asking me like, who was it, and something, and what did he used to do?" And they were trying to write down all the different trades because I was a plasterer, and so they're writing down uh, a, a carpenter, a laborer, uh, and then there's nobody you can't read. He was a glazer, so they're not going to guess that one.
Yeah, that's a
So
tough one.
yeah, so if they had like at least had a the phone and just write down like or put the Google all the different types of trades,
Mhm.
I could show it to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, to have it in a device in the hospital would really help.
Yeah.
I know. And that is rare. Usually in the hospital too. And I'm not sure if this is anybody experience. Sometimes it is like quick, just like the picture board almost or pointing. Or else if the person is able then to write and then communicate that way with your writing. But a lot of times it's like quick, it's pointing. It does make it very difficult. So I agree if they could kind of even just have one everywhere. Hospitals, acute rehab, subacute, at least one, I think it would make a huge difference initially too, and in the advocating process.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a presentation from, of course, her name just went out of my head. They did the med concerns. It's like a little, well, I don't know if you could
Mhm.
see it. It's like rainbow.
Yeah.
It's like this
It was,
little
Yeah.
on your phone, and you can it'll ask me, how am I? And it has little pictures. I'm okay, I'm bad, am I getting better, whatever. And it has like a lot of medical things. So it's very good for turn it on in the hospital
Oh, nice.
the person is unable to speak. There was a note on the chat. Barbara had mentioned she had a stroke that caused her to have expressive aphasia. It means she can't speak, but she can understand everything she that we say. Oh, right. And Mark was reminding me of Hillary and Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Doctor,
Steve.
yeah, SLP and a doctor who worked together to build this app called Med Concerns.
Thank you. I'm gonna write myself a note too.
Yeah, I can send it to you. What it
It's
is.
it's
Task.
it's on it's on it's actually on our website. If we look for the link all the way down in there, we have different devices in there. Uh, so, uh, but we actually like we have one now in St. Mary's rehab. So
Ah,
that so
Nice.
they like we got a iPad and used the app for it, and they could use it if there's a new uh, patient that has aphasia.
That's
nice.
great.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a really good app. And I'm sure if it's a person with aphasia, I don't know how they're pricing it for now, but I know they had given a very nice discount to if we had purchased it at that time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Mark, could you send that app?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I just at least like I'd be interested in looking at it.
mhm,
Okay. Yep.
mhm.
Let me see.
I'm working with the team at Moss, and so you know anything that I can you know brick to bring to bear is always helpful to share.
Yeah. Good. Any other questions, anyone? This was, I thought, an amazing presentation, a lot of good information.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to share. I'm going to share that before, if
Yeah, go for it.
just
Go
for a
for it.
second. You see, that's the
Oh, there it is.
right there.
Meds. Yeah.
Med concerns. Yep.
Yeah, so we do have other ones in there to help, but this one's very affordable here because you use it on your phone, I think. Yeah.
Yep, right
Mhm.
on the phone or the
Yep.
iPad.
All right. Is everyone okay with that? Can I stop that now?
Mhm.
Got it?
All right. So thank you so very much, Allison, for being with us with your presentation. This was it's a lot of what do you call that? Food for the food. Wait, what's that expression? Food.
Food for thought.
Thank
Food
you.
for thought.
Thank you. Thank you. Food for
Every once
thought.
in a while, I'll
Yeah.
pin one up for you. How's
Right?
that?
There you go. There you go. But it's amazing. I really I don't know if I didn't say this to everyone. Allison is actually my cognitive therapist. And
Oh.
how I found Isaac Health, I got an email and it was saying, "Do you have issues about memory?" And I was kind of like, "Well, yeah, I kind of do." So typed in and I said, "Let me, like, what services are you providing? What do you have?" And they gave me all this information, whereas I had the evaluation. We went through and here's the best thing. Well, not the best thing. The best thing is out, but
Thanks to
a
you.
great thing is after I have my appointment with Allison, about a week later someone will call me, and it's usually the same young lady.
Mhm.
She'll call and she'll say, "Well, how was your session? Is everything okay? Was there any difference with your medicine? Is there any changes you're noticing in your health or this or that?" So they're following up,
Mhm.
I love what services Isaac Health is providing, and I don't get any money for saying that. And as a matter of fact, it was so funny because when I signed up, with it, I was with a different insurance company.
Mhm.
This insurance company is an out of network now, but you can still use it depending on your insurance company. So you just have to kind of look into that if that was something you were looking into. And it doesn't have to be Isaac Health.
Mhm.
You've now got a lot of information about cognitive therapy and what kinds of things your speech language pathologist may or may not be, they may be able to do some of these things as well.
Definitely, because a lot of times, especially too, if it is like the expressive or receptive language, that is usually the primary focus initially. But then as you reach those goals, it is important to advocate, hey, I also noticed some changes here. Can we work on that instead of just looking at like a discharge or, okay, let's meet again in a couple months and kind of keeping that plan of care going, that consistency and just changing the goals, possibly accuracy, decreased levels of assistance. But kind of going from just that communication to then those cognitive communication skills too.
Yeah, definitely excellent. Thank you so very much, Allison. Before anyone runs off, we've got a few more announcements. So I have to share my slides one more time to give you some more information, but let's just thank Allison one more
Thank you
time.
very much.
Thank
This
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for
this
having
was
me.
so awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll see
Bye.
you. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, bye.
So I will try to get back to oh wait, I think I was there. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here's one of the announcements. This is, I don't know if I had mentioned with you guys, or I'm pretty sure I did, but who knows? Oh, goodness gracious, what is happening? Hold on, sorry. Don't touch the screen, Denise. All right. So, More Than Aphasia, which is a nonprofit that I started something, whatever. We're inviting you to what we're calling the Connection. This will be Wednesday, March 22nd, 10:30 in the morning to 12 noon. We meet in Willow Grove at the Giant Supermarket on the second floor. There's a community room, and we're just going to have like conversations, social activities, and of course, something nice to eat as well.
Mm.
So if you're interested, please do. Mark is going to do this one now. I think on his screen,
Yeah.
he has a slide to
Yeah.
share. Well,
Yep. Okay. Our next session, 2 weeks from now, we have our conversation group, but we're also having Ask the Expert. And the doctor she'll be there. And if you can, and we're going to email this to everyone, if you have any questions, email us to us, and or you can email her, and we will get the answers, or the or what she thinks she can do will be there. So hopefully everyone will be there, and we are collaborating now with the University of Maryland. Thank you.
excellent.
And I'll stop.
All right. Replace current.
Hi.
Hey.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm just trying to find my what I had on my screen, and it disappeared. So, so here it is. Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Oh, good.
All right, so that was Allison. That was Yasmin. Okay, on May 17th, can you believe, like, in a couple weeks it's May? But we're going abroad again. Get your passports, get your suitcase, get ready. We are going to Colombia. We are having the quarterly MAAC abroad. We are meeting with, and I hope I pronounce her name correctly, Carolina, and that's all I got.
Me
So
too.
Is that on May 7th or
May 7th.
okay?
Yes, it's on May 7th. It's not a Monday. May 7th, it's at 2 p.m. Eastern time, because I think they have the same time as we do, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, it's on May 7th, so just be ready, and it'll be a lot of fun. Do you know that in every country there are people with aphasia? Every country?
Yep.
But every country doesn't necessarily have support groups. Every country doesn't necessarily have good therapy, good any of those things. So we'll find out what's happening in Colombia.
And something with the time is actually because we have
Oh, that's right. Wait,
yeah,
saving daytime or something?
yeah. So the time might be changed for an hour. So
Okay,
we're not sure,
we'll
but
find out.
yes, we'll
We'll,
let you know.
yep, we'll keep
Mhm.
you posted. Also in May, we have, of course, on the 25th of May, that is our conversation group. But on the second Monday, we are having a visit with a friend called Rick Abels, which I think is so cool that his last name is Abels
Mhm.
after having a stroke. He is an artist, he is a musician, He is a Southern gentleman. I met him through the University of South Carolina support group. He paints beautifully. He plays guitar. He never painted until his stroke.
Wow.
So when you see some of his work, it's going to kind of make you think a little bit of Jen and how her
Mhm.
inspiration for her painting is. But I'm hoping Rick will also be able to sing. He has some issues with the throat, but he plays guitar beautifully. And anyway, it's going to be a nice session with him. And then the last thing I did not, I don't know if I've advertised this to everyone, but I will say, ugh, sorry, I have issues. Here we go. Here it comes. All right. So the nonprofit More Than Aphasia, what we've been doing, I do still have the podcast, but I haven't done anything new, but I hope to soon. We're having a fundraising luncheon. The aphasia awareness fundraising luncheon is we're doing that so we can raise money for computers and Wi-Fi hotspots and training for people who they don't either have Wi-Fi or computers or they don't know how to, and they're not able to use the support groups and things that are virtual. So we're having this luncheon. It's going to be at the William Penn Inn. If you know anything about the William Penn Inn, it's going to be a fabulous luncheon. We're going to have entertainment. We will have free raffles. Free. You don't have to buy $5 for a ticket. You could possibly win a great prize for free. And we're going to have aphasia friendly activities. Our keynote speaker is Dr. Reva Zimmerman. She's a CCC SLP. She's at come on, talk, Westchester University. And the information, if you want it to go, is on that flyer. Mark will send the flyer out to whomever is interested with that. Now, let me just say that because a few of us who check with some of your other groups that you connect with, because there may have been tickets allowed or provided for persons with aphasia in the club, in that group. Um, I sent information to Mark, sent information to the Gail at the Temple group, and I sent tickets to information about tickets to Rachel at Drexel/Salis
Mhm.
there. So because we had a donor who gave some for the free tickets. So if you are interested and you have the flyer, look at the flyer, see if you're interested in going to the show. I'm not show, to the luncheon. You must be affiliated with one of these groups that are giving that, because I gave the tickets out because the person who gave the money for the tickets said they specifically wanted them for the aphasia community. So despite my sister may want to go, she's going to have to buy a ticket. My friends have to buy a ticket, but my friends who are able to get those tickets, if you're available, call them up and see if you're able to get that, because we want to have, I'm not going to say a full house because I don't like a whole lot of crowd, but it's going to be a nice event. We have a room that'll fit 75, but hoping to get at least 60 people, and it'll be very nice. So if you're interested, we would love to have you there. Thank you so very much for your patience. I know we started off a little late because we had a little snag with the computer, and it was a lot of information, but I took a few notes, and Mark will send us the info from that, and I'll see if I can I'll get the slides from. No, she's going to mail them to you, Mark, or maybe she'll send whatever.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
You'll get it.
we'll make sure that you get it, because this is
Okay.
I'm telling you, this is great therapy, and it's so focused in on what it is that you want or you need. It's not general stuff. It's very like it's this is like such a good thing. This is just me as a person who's a client doing those things. Patient, I guess.
And
But lovely. Mhm.
and the restaurant is William Penn.
Yes, William Penn Inn in Glen, no, Gwynedd. Gwynedd. It's right off of 202 and 63. Yeah. So it should be a nice one. And even though it's like it's a historic inn, like William Penn, like it was his thing. Those George Washington revolutionary people and all of that. The date is May 23rd. No, wait, is that right? 2-3? May 2-3 on starts at 11:30 in the morning. We'll make sure Barbara, I got your email. I'll make sure you get the flyer for that. Even though it's a like fancy schmancy place, it's not like you don't have to put a suit on. You don't like we don't want you can't come in shorts. They're not gonna let you in shorts, but it's not like you don't have to fancy schmancy. Like you can just wear, like a shirt and pants, or ladies could wear whatever you want, like a dress or whatever. But it's like you can't come in with your gym shorts on or something, because they will stop you at the door. But it's a good place. This is my favorite restaurant in the entire world. If I could live there, I would. But thank you so much, everybody. This was great. I don't know. I love it so much. It was
Yeah.
great.
Well, thank you for your patience today, because I sent everyone the wrong link, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. All right.
So have a good one, everyone. Thank you so much.